Welcome to LMP Talks Wrestling. How is everyone doing in their self-isolation stations? I hope you're all being productive and finding positive ways to tackle this uncertain time. We know wrestling is. Over the weekend, we had a jam-packed, entertaining weekend as WWE put on their biggest event of the year. It was over the course of 2 nights this year, and I can't wait to chat about it. So with that, as you guys know, I'm never alone in these podcasts. I have guests on all over the world, but I'm back with James today. He was on a couple of days ago, or a couple of weeks ago, sorry, and he's back to chat some wrestling. So how's it going today, James?
I was just wondering, a couple of days ago, I must have dreamt that. Yeah, I'm doing great. Yourself?
I'm doing all right, given all things considered. And how are you keeping yourself busy?
Well, I've literally just come off my exercise bike about half an hour ago, whilst watching Wrestlemania. So that's one way to watch it.
Absolutely.
And yeah, just keeping busy with little bits and pieces like that, trying to be a bit creative with some of the things I'm doing, getting lots of ideas sorted. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm getting myself up right now. But as for being productive, I've been going back on the PlayStation and I've been playing Gems of War again. I don't know why, but it's been really addicting. But getting back to the wrestling though, so you told me that you just finished watching WrestleMania now, like as of 20 minutes ago.
Yes. So what is it? Yeah, 20 minutes ago I finished watching WrestleMania. So this is the freshest take on day two that you could possibly get from me, and I am still buzzing from it. So yeah, just what a couple of days! What a couple of days!
It certainly has been, and since night two, when we just ended, and you're fresh off it, we'll begin with night two. We'll cover night two, and we'll go into night one, and hopefully in the next 45 minutes or so, we can cover WrestleMania and give you our take on it. So, I guess we'll start off with the pre-show last night with Liv Morgan and Natalia.
I'll admit I didn't watch it because that match was announced very late, and I did hear that on the WWE website they'd misspelt Natalia as Natalie on the card. So I felt like I could possibly miss that one.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that. That's funny. But it only went for 6 minutes roughly, so it wasn't, it was just normal pre-show things, getting things started up. You know how they do it.
I don't even know who won. Who won?
It was Liv Morgan.
Oh, good.
Yeah, when I saw these two, the strangest thing though is I wanted to note, or I wanted to make a note, sorry, about that match was Natalia was heel. Did she go heel that I forgot about?
No, she probably turned heel on the walkway and realised nobody was there. No, to be honest, I prefer Natalia as I nearly call her Natalie then. Natalia as a heel. I just think she's a lot better. So if that sticks, it's great. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
I do agree, yeah. Because if it sticks, and that's just the thing, like we spoke about this. I mean, well, possibly you and I back then, but I've talked about this many times with various wrestling fans about I just can't get behind Natalia. Like I'm the most shameful Canadian around. She's she's from Canada and she's a great wrestler, but she's never utilized, and I can never ever get behind her. Like when it was SummerSlam, and it was, who was it? Natalia versus
Becky, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was. Yeah, and I couldn't get behind her at all. I could not get behind, and I felt terrible. But I was like, I can't, because that's what WWE's done. But
I think her surname doesn't really help her in that regard. It just, that legacy she's got to live up to, it doesn't help her, unfortunately. Which is, it's sad, but yeah, there we go.
yeah, but we'll dive in right into another women's match, because how the show started off, and this surprised me. The first match of the card was Charlotte Flair against Rhea Ripley for the NXT title. What did you think of this match?
It was a brilliant match, to be honest. I really enjoyed it, and the way that they played it, where Charlotte's working on the leg, and Rhea's selling the leg for the match. And yeah, to get the figure 8 locked in, you knew it would happen. But I honestly, if it was a normal WrestleMania, this is the way I would have gone with it. Booking Charlotte to win. Just because I think it would show that NXT women's division off a lot more. However, I did think, given the circumstances, they might just keep it on Rhea and keep her strong and then come back to normality whenever that is. But my biggest concern from that match is, what is it saying about NXT's women's division to the casual audience? I don't know.
That's a very good point. You raised a very good question with that. I was pretty sure that Charlotte Flair was going to win. I couldn't see Rhea Ripley dominating Charlotte Flair in this situation. I just felt she was too young in her career, because Charlotte Flair, she's been around for so long now, and she has so many accolades, Charlotte Flair. And Rhea Ripley, while is dominant, she beat Shayna Baszler and she's badass, I don't think status-wise it would have made sense for her to conquer Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. It just didn't make sense in my mind. And also with the whole NXT ratings losing to AEW pretty much every single week, even now, while circumstances are a little bit iffy, as we know, I just can't. I couldn't see Rhea Ripley just defeating Charlotte Flair. Like, how did you see that?
It's similar. Like, it's too early in Rhea's career to be basically the best that there is in that division. Charlotte is the best. I know people don't particularly like her because they think that she's over strong and she's overbooked in terms of her wins, but she has the best matches with people. Everybody that has their best match has it with Charlotte, and there's a reason for that. She's great. But I was scared by what happened the night before. I remember a couple of weeks ago when I was saying about I'm looking forward to the Shayna match with Becky. And oh dear me, that did not go how I would have wanted it to go, and I don't think a lot of people wanted it to go that way. And to have the great NXT hope, this great champion, lose to Becky Lynch, and then you get Charlotte beating Rhea, that's my concern about the main roster, the casual fan thinking about the NXT women's division, which is amazing. It's an amazing roster.
It is. I agree. And since we're mentioning Becky and Shayna, and I know they're on night one, but it makes sense to mention them here too, just because I made this point last night when Becky won to Shayna. The point I was making last night with Charlotte Flair defeating Rhea Ripley is, at WrestleMania we've had Charlotte Flair defeat Asuka 2 years ago over that 900-day undefeated streak. Then, so we brought somebody up from NXT to go on the main roster, and they lost on their first crazy thing. And then 2 years later, we did the same thing with Becky Lynch defeating Shayna. Now, Shayna was the right result, in my opinion. I don't know why they decided to keep it on Becky Lynch right now, but apparently the rumors are the feud's going to continue over time. But the same situation happened here, where Shayna, I think, had a 900-plus title run, maybe? I could be wrong about that.
Combined, so she held it twice.
Yes.
Kairi Sane beat her. It's getting up there. It's maybe 500 days, roughly, in total.
Yeah.
So it's a long reign, yeah.
Yeah, so it's two situations where you have two like massive badasses that essentially Triple H has created here, and he's booked them this way because people want to get behind them. And then they get out to the main shows and people are like, oh yeah, I'm behind this superstar, I can't wait to get behind them. And then that superstar just becomes a star. It's not super anymore because the momentum gets sucked out of them. Like when Asuka lost against Charlotte, it was a hell of a match, but it was the wrong result. And I still say that 2 years later. Becky Lynch beating Shayna right now with how weak that finisher was, I didn't care who won, to be honest. I mean, Shayna was the right result in my opinion, but I just needed an actual finish. Like Becky Lynch using her finisher, or Shayna Baszler using her finisher. Not some weird roll-up thing. I don't know. It was like countering the clutch. I mean, I guess it was kind of inventive, but at the same time, I just felt that they just took too, like, they didn't do it last year because it was Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda, and that was good. We had 3 mega stars clashing, and Becky was the right result with how the whole entire thing went. But we now have 2 WrestleManias where Charlotte has sucked the life out of an NXT star in a sense, but it's complicated. It really is, because I love Charlotte. I do. When it comes to her wrestling ability, I love her. Personality-wise, character-wise, not so much. But you're right though. She can mix with anybody.
Yeah, honestly, that match from night 1 with Becky and Shayna, like you say, the Asuka Charlotte match was fantastic 2 years ago, and yeah, okay, the result maybe went the wrong way, but you could sort of reconcile it in your mind and go, well, actually, it was a good match. The Shayna Becky match was not. It was just, it made no sense. Shayna has been pinned like that before. She's got the clutch in and been rolled back, and she's been surprised by it. Now, Shayna should be wise to that now. And the way that her character should be introduced is, I'm this real fighter. And they've played that up with that interview that she did with Kayla Braxton, where she looked tough, but I honestly think they've somehow messed up Shayna to such an extent that she needs to just be left alone for a bit. And that makes me so sad to say.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I brought up the Asuka and Charlotte thing before, because I felt that same way 2 years ago. I was like, well, why did this happen? Like, why? There was no reason for Charlotte to win 2 years ago. There wasn't. It didn't need to happen. She could have gotten another title run somewhere else. And Becky Lynch winning the way she did, it didn't need to happen. Again, I would rather see Becky tap out Shayna or just beat the living crap out of her and pin her 1, 2, 3 than just that easy backwards roll up because of her clutch thing. It felt very, very weak. Like, I was in the chat room with some friends last night while we were watching all WrestleMania live, and to those out there, this is recording on a Monday. I was watching in the chat room, and all of us, every single one of us, we were all like deflated from the end of that match.
Yeah, honestly, thinking about it now is deflating me from my massive high for WrestleMania. Because, like, if we think of Asuka, 6 months later, she was comparing her hair to Naomi, and they were friends because they both had multicolored hair. So, you know, Shayna's going to rock up with Aleister Black because they're both like a bit of leather and are a bit dark and moody. So, yeah, 6 months' time, that'll happen. It really is. Yeah. Let's not talk about it because we could literally just talk about that for like 45 minutes.
I agree. Let's move on to from the pity party then, and we'll go into the quick match that was Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley. What'd you think of that 7-minute match?
Was it 7 minutes?
It was 7 minutes.
Oh, it felt a lot longer. I can't believe it was 7 minutes. It should have been a minute. They should have just done what they did at the end.
Yep.
In that first minute, where Lana tells Bobby to do the spear, Black Mask, over. I can't believe that was 7 minutes. Wow. Yes, I did notice that when Aleister Black came out, he had a 3D hologram thing, so that must mean they're going to push him. But yeah, just why was it 7 minutes? That's my analysis.
First of all, I love the classic fan common sense that we have. Like, if a wrestler has pyro or holograms, that means they're important. I love that over the years. Oh, they have pyro. That must mean that WWE believes in them.
Well, that's the same with AEW when they've got pyro. Yeah, sure. You're like, oh no, big deal. They're gonna get pushed. Yeah.
It's great. I love that mentality that pretty much every fan has, because we're all sitting there and we're all like, oh yeah, they got pyro. They must like them. It's funny, but yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, Bobby Lashley probably lost that match though, just because he was distracted by Lana's hair.
Yeah, that was odd. It just came out and she brown hair now, and yeah,
Yeah, I mean, she looked nice, but she looks much better as a blonde, in my opinion. But
yeah, yeah,
the brown
definitely.
just didn't suit her, I guess. But I mean, rock on. She looked fabulous, though. She looked great. But
Just as a red-blooded male, yes, she
yeah,
does look fabulous. But yeah,
see,
yeah,
Bobby Lashley wasn't like. See, once they got married, right? Lana was like, "Well, I'm going to become a new person and dye my hair," and Bobby Lashley was like,
I'm going
"That's
to put some tights on.
that's not what I. That's not. I'm not used to this new brown look. I'm going to lose this match now because I'm distracted by you." But I mean that was a quick match though, and Aleister Black was definitely the right result. But let us talk about the most amazing, heartfelt, warming moment in the entire WrestleMania when Otis defeated Dolph Ziggler and he had the kiss of the century.
Oh, just the little promo they built at the beginning where I was just so into this match, and oh, Otis got the girl. Like the good guy got the girl. And yeah, it just was brilliant. That was the best bit. I mean, I was watching it and I was thinking, Otis on his own, like people will go, oh, he's a tag team guy, but in NXT, Ciampa, when he had the title, he fought Otis in a singles match, and it was amazing because Ciampa just didn't take him seriously, and Otis pulled out these amazing moves, and he's a great wrestler in the singles guys, and he showed a little bit of that against Dolph, but there's a lot more to come from Otis, and yeah, let's have a nice feel good story between Otis and Mandy because it just works. Don't know why, but it just works. And Otis is hilarious. He always
Yeah,
has.
I I completely agree. It was the feel good moment that I think the whole world needed right now. Like all the people who were tuning into WrestleMania last night, it was awesome. And the fact that WWE actually did 4 months worth of consecutive booking.
Yes, and they kept a story going, and then
It was
they
an
called
entire feud for 4 months, and it all made sense. And I know it's amazing.
and
I'm not gonna clap on the microphone here because that would bother people's ears, but let's give a round of applause to WWE for actually sticking by something and going the full way with it.
I know it's this weird thing of if you're consistent and you tell a long-term story, the payoff is amazing. Um,
Yep. And I love everybody was happy about that kiss.
oh,
Again, like Twitter was happy about it. I saw pictures, I saw gifs. It was awesome. Like, and Otis defeating Dolph Ziggler was definitely the right result. Like I had a hunch that they might, heal it up like WWE likes to do and continue the storyline. Like something devastating would happen to Otis at WrestleMania.
yeah,
But I'm really glad that didn't happen.
yeah. I had concerns when I saw Sonya walk out with Dolph, and I was like, oh dear, what are we doing here? And then Tucker wasn't with Otis, and I was like, oh no, where is Tucker? Um, and fortunately, he was not with Mandy, as some people were saying might happen. That it was Tucker all along, and he was after Mandy. So yeah, just a feel good. Times like this need a feel good story, and that is our feel good story, I think.
Absolutely. And one match that was the longest match on the card and the longest match on the entire both nights WrestleMania card. At 36 minutes, Edge defeated Randy Orton in a last man standing match. How did you find Edge's return?
Like Edge is my guy from back when he was with Edge and Christian and on Sunday Night Heat. So
Nice.
yeah, just it was a great way to have this match and to go. I mean, going into that office and that weird elbow from that draping ceiling rig onto that steel table,
Wicked.
just amazing moves that they pulled off. And Orton basically telling the referee at one point when they're in the gym bit, isn't that worth a count? Get counting. And yeah, just it was a great match. And after the concerto, I don't think Orton's going to be around for a while because he looked like he died.
He most certainly did. And how creative they were throughout that match. They pretty much gave us an entire tour of the Performance Center. I know Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa did that just the other week or so in their little brawl, but it was I have only two little complaints about the entire match. And one was I felt it was too long because there was no reactions, there was no audience. I started getting distracted. I did feel that, and that's just this whole situation around the world thing. That's not, WWE is doing their absolute best to put on a damn good show, and they did for the most part. And my only other complaint was at the end, before he did the chair shot to the head. Randy Orton was already on the ground, and the referee was not counting. In fact, I counted to 10 while Randy Orton was on the ground.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, they're clearly waiting for this spot, but still, Randy Orton was defeated before that chair shot.
Yeah, it's little bits and pieces, but I mean the way Edge was using his acting skills that he's picked up in these 9 years, using his eye. I mean, he always had some of the best eyes anyway. Using his eyes and darting around looking for the next thing he can use against Orton. My little disappointment was that huge ladder. They didn't use that huge ladder. That was like, I don't know how tall that ladder was. It was like 25 foot. Never seen a ladder as big as that. I would have if Jeff Hardy had been involved, I'm sure he'd have jumped off it with no problem. Nobody there, just randomly Jeff in the background, just jumping off it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go.
Just That's a call. But yeah, it was a great match and a great end to the story, great feel-good factor. My whole thing with this match, I remember a couple of weeks ago you asked me what I was looking forward to, and I forgot this match because everything built up brilliantly, but yeah, just that lack of audience, just that tiny bit would have helped it so much more. Just push it over the edge, but it was a great match.
Push it over the edge, pun intended.
Indeed.
Well, it was awesome, and now going forward, I don't know if we'll get more Randy Orton feuds with this whole Edge thing, but who do you want Edge to face now going forward? Because I believe he has 10 matches in total over 3 years. So I think this might have been his first one.
Yeah, that's a tricky one because you don't want him derailing any championship, really. I'm just trying to think. He's a Raw superstar, I'm guessing, because he's done a lot of work on Raw.
Yeah.
I probably... him against AJ Styles would be amazing.
I agree.
But I mean, AJ's dead, so. But yeah, put those two together somehow. That would be a great match because they're two guys that, yeah, they'd be able to get the best out of each other.
All right, Edge versus AJ Styles. That sounds great, and I think we could have Edge versus Seth Rollins. We could have.
Yes.
Eventually down the road, we could even see Edge versus Drew McIntyre for the title.
See, yeah, I was thinking that, but then I was like, would he put himself there? But I think that would work, build up to that. Maybe he beats Seth on the way to it. That Seth thing would be good, especially if he keeps calling himself the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy.
He is, and I think there's a really good feud there with the whole Monday Night Messiah and then Edge coming back. He's like, okay, I just got finished dealing with Randy Orton, and now I come back to Monday Night Raw and there's a Messiah. What is going on here? And Edge could just do something with that. So
yeah, definitely.
Now the Street Profits and versus Angel Garza and Austin Theory, it was pretty damn fast, and honestly, I couldn't even get into it. Did you enjoy it?
Pretty similar, to be honest. It was fast, and the Street Profits did their things, and yeah, it was just there. Which I know when it was announced initially with Andrade, it came out of nowhere. Honestly, this match could have. It was basically your toilet break match, wasn't it? It's there. It happened. Not much has come out of it. Not much will lead from it. It was enjoyable, but yeah. I was waiting for the next matches more than this one.
Yeah, and actually, to be fair, I did not use the washroom, but I did go to the kitchen and get a snack during this match. So I didn't mean to, but I had what had happened was, Angel or Austin Theory, we replaced Andrade, and then Angel Garza was already in there, and I was just like, well, I don't want to see them as a tag team. What's going on here? Andrade's United States champion, and I don't know. It was all there was a complete disconnect for me with the whole tag team match, and the fact that it was only 6 minutes showed that they didn't really have much invested in it either, because it was shorter than the pre-show match with Liv Morgan and Natalia. So
yeah,
there's that.
It was nice to see Austin Aries doing little bits, but
Austin Theory.
Oh, sorry, Austin Theory, not Austin Aries.
They're very similar, but the Austin Theory, Austin Aries, I don't know, very kind of similar.
They're very similar. It's because I've only written Austin on my notes. I could have called him Stone Cold then. That would have been a mistake. It was nice to see him and get a little bit of a spotlight. But yeah, it was just one of those matches that I'm sure we won't be talking about it in a year's time.
Yeah, so one match that we will move on into then is the Fatal 5-Way elimination match. What'd you think of Bayley defeating all 5 other women? Or 4. Right. Is it 4 or 5? 4.
So she beat 4.
Yes, 4.
It's the right results. And I like the way that they ended the match with Sasha actually getting the women's rights from Lacey Evans after Bayley protected herself and pushed Sasha out the way, but it backfired. And it was good to see that, okay, they're still together, but there might be the start of maybe that breakup. However, during the match, when they started, it highlighted to me. Now, I don't like to be mean to people, and I don't like to call people out, but Tamina I don't know what she's doing there. Honestly, there were points where she was just standing and looking around lost. And people diss Lacey Evans and have dissed Lacey Evans for the past 18 months. And Lacey Evans has got better. And you can see it in her work. And you can see that she's progressing and she's getting better and she's understanding what's going on. Tamina's been there for years. And she just... I don't think I've ever seen a good Tamina match.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, 100%. And the reason is, I said this, I think it was 2 weeks ago, whenever this Elimination Chamber match got announced on SmackDown. When Tamina was announced, I was lost. I was like, what? Why is Tamina even considered for this match? She's never won a title, I'm pretty sure. The last time she won a match, I can't remember except for last week on SmackDown. And where has she been all these months? They just threw her in there. And I know WrestleMania is tough times and everything, but you could have just had a Fatal 4 and taken Tamina out. Like, I hate being offensive or mean or rude, like just as you said, but I don't understand with what's going on with Tamina. Like, I know they even say, no one's meaner than Tamina, and I'm like, really? Because she doesn't do anything. She can't do anything, and the company is not behind her at all. So the fact that 2 weeks ago, I looked at my friends and I was like, Tamina's not going to win. They're not going to do anything with her. And she was the first elimination. So I was like, well, I was right then. I was right 2 weeks ago to not invest in her. And if WWE has fans at home going, oh, they're trying to get me to invest in this person, but I know that they're not going to, I was right. So what am I going to do now next time? In 1 month, 2 months time, when Tamina comes back, I'm going to do the exact same thing because I've learned that WWE doesn't care about her.
So it's funny you should say that, because I checked on Facebook after I'd watched WrestleMania, and there was a post from WWE, and for some reason it was just the women's match. And I like sometimes reading the comments because it's hilarious sometimes. the opinions that are out there, if you're ever feeling sad and depressed, just read some of the comments on WWE Facebook page, because it's amazing. And I could not believe it, but the first 4 comments on that video were, I can't believe you've done that to Tamina. And I don't know what you're seeing. I don't understand what you're looking at, because all she can do is push people, and she can't really do that very well. Please. But
She has a good kick to the chin. I'll give her that one.
Yeah, she can sometimes pull that one off, but the story was good, and I like the way that Bayley and Sasha are still united, but there are those seeds of doubt creeping in, and it's a good. It's not they didn't do the Sasha Bayley finish as well, which is good. I think that's better in the long term. They're actually. It's weird how these two nights have actually. WWE always does this when they're put in a corner and they don't have long to plan stuff and they leave it possibly to the wrestlers a bit more. They create these better stories and these better shows.
Absolutely.
It's as if they might hopefully learn something. Please learn something, WWE, from these, because the next match is absolute proof of what can happen if you let wrestlers do what wrestlers do best.
I completely agree, and we're going to talk about both of those matches right now, because I'm not jumping back to part 1 or night 1 to talk about The Undertaker versus AJ Styles. We are talking about The Undertaker versus AJ Styles in a Boneyard match right now, and then we're going to move on to The Fiend, who defeated John Cena in a Firefly Funhouse match, which was amazing. So tell me, my friend, what are your feelings in the Boneyard match?
It was pure spectacle. I just want to see every single Undertaker match from now on to be this. The whole theatrical aspect of it, the Druids coming and he's taking out the Druids one by one, but it's quite clear he's an old guy. And I was watching it and I was thinking, you know what? The Undertaker is the guy that all the people in Tiger King think they are.
That's awesome.
He just turned up on that motorbike, listening to Metallica, and it was just pure nostalgic brilliance. And he's not trying to, like, the dead man might be dead. This might be this new character that he's playing, because it's a bit more like him, and it's a bit more, he is this rugged old dog basically, and he's still got it in him. And the whole theatrical bit where AJ's on the digger about to put the soil on top, and then the light comes up from behind and the Undertaker's magically appeared there, and AJ did brilliant in this match. Like, he just sold everything fantastically. Gallows and Anderson again were just brilliant. It just who would have thought in 2020 an Undertaker match would get people talking so excitedly as this one has. It just was perfect. And again, it's proof to WWE, let the wrestlers be creative, do these different types of matches. Maybe, I don't know, Matt Hardy was right with his final and ultimate deletions. Maybe that should have been something you got on board with. But oh no, he's gone to AEW, but you've pulled something from this wreckage, this carnage that it could have been. I honestly, if it was a Buried Alive match, there would have been nothing as dull as a Buried Alive match. I really don't like those matches in an arena, but this was superb.
Absolutely. I don't think I could say it any better than that, because it was awesome. I was watching it and I was like, all right, this is kind of a movie. And then I just kept getting more interested and more interested. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. And seeing The Undertaker doing all of this, you know what? It kind of reminded me of, you know how when in WWE they didn't really give Jake Roberts the best kind of, like, you know, as he gets older, he's now a legend. So, like, in WWE's eyes, whenever you bring back, like, an older guy, they have to get beat up or something. Well, AEW is doing the opposite of that, right? I'm just using this example, and they're making Jake Roberts this badass, and everything he says, you know, he could say "I love you," and it sounds like he's gonna murder you. Well, The Undertaker last night, or on day one, gave me that feeling like Jake Roberts. He was going around, he's like, "Come on, boy, thought you wanted this." You know, it's like he was cocky, it was scary, and it reminded me that The Undertaker is a man that doesn't matter if wrestling, you know, kayfabe, choreography, wrestling setup, it doesn't matter what it is. The Undertaker or Mark Calloway, whoever this man is a man that I never, ever, ever want to mess with.
Yes, and it's this whole thing. If you saw him in the street dressed like that, you would go, you'd be like, there's a guy I'm not messing with. And like you say, Jake Roberts is a great example.
Yep.
What they're doing with him on AEW, he comes across as this grizzled, old, like, I nearly swore then, but like SOB basically. He just is that, and the Undertaker pulled that out. He was calling AJ a boy. He's like, I'm an old man. Say my wife's name now, and
Yep.
it just absolutely owned it. And yeah, like, if that is the end of the Undertaker, which it's the Undertaker, so it never will be. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And if you're listening to this and haven't watched it, just please watch it, because it's 25 minutes of just cinema. Like, the violins playing the Undertaker's theme when he comes back up, and it starts building this crescendo, and it is cinematic, and it's brilliant. And WWE need to do more matches like that, because I tell you what, they've got the budget for it. They can pull this off. Not all the time. Every so often, just pull out one of these matches, because I tell you what, it's brilliant. And that is sports entertainment right there.
Yeah, and the greatest thing about these matches too is when I agree with when the Undertaker should be doing these matches from now on in this type of like lighting or camera ways or pre-recorded scenarios, the fact that it helps whoever he's with too, because I'm not mocking again the Undertaker's stamina or anything, but as an older guy, he has less stamina than, let's say, somebody in their 20s or 30s. So with a pre-recorded set, you can have the Undertaker look just as strong, because you can do a bunch of things, take a breather, and then go back, and you look just as, fresh as you did 10 minutes ago.
Exactly. And if you look at this older guy scenario, just look no further than Goldberg against Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
I said last time that I was on, I was intrigued by the match because I was interested to see what Goldberg would look like without the theatrical element. And my word, did that man just look old. Like, the way that he tried to go and do the jackhammer, like, there was no chance that was happening. And he was just blown up, unfortunately. But that was the way it had to go, in a way.
So now the Boneyard match is done, and now we have the Firefly Funhouse match to talk about. With, I guess it was the most retro thing ever. What did you think of the Firefly Funhouse?
So I'm about an hour removed from seeing the Firefly Funhouse match, and to say, honestly, I'm still computing it in my brain. It just was everything that I wanted without knowing I wanted it. It was just so clever in the way that there were so many jokes in there. So many jokes, and John Cena was excellent to go along with it, and it was just brilliant. Like, asking John Cena if he's got ruthless aggression, and then dodging the punch that that he obviously famously did to Kurt Angle when he slapped him, and Bray's dodging it, and then he says, "You can look, but you can't touch," and I just was like, "Oh my God, you can't have just done that." And it's brilliant. The whole Vince puppet and saying the catchphrase that we know from the Jon Moxley interview with Chris Jericho, and it was just a fever dream. Like, I was on the exercise bike watching this as I was doing it, and that was probably the best way to watch that, because I'm breathing heavy, I'm working hard, I'm watching this crazy match, lost in it, not realizing that I was on the high setting for about 20 minutes instead of the normal 10, because I was just mesmerized and just gobsmacked by the way they did it. And honestly, if people say that Bray Wyatt is not this creative genius, maybe let's not say genius, but his creative instincts are fantastic, and just let him go and play around and let him do what he wants to do with this Fiend. The whole thing with the Universal title didn't work, but he was popular, so they went with it. Just let him do this kind of thing, because it was just amazing. And you follow up the Boneyard match with that Firefly Funhouse match, and again it shows what is possible with this company. They are in a position that they can do this because it's sports entertainment. Like if you're looking for wrestling, if you're looking for the Tokyo Dome 5-star match, this isn't it, but this is as entertaining.
Yeah,
this is fantastic.
It was incredibly entertaining. I mean, the fact that it was only 13 minutes is crazy, because I was sitting there wanting more after it ended. I was like, oh, was that the end? When I guess the regular Bray Wyatt counted the 3. That was kind of crazy. I was like, in my head, I was thinking, well, if John Cena was going to win, who was going to count for John Cena if he had pinned Bray Wyatt? Like, there was no ref. I don't know what was going to happen, but it was so deep. It was layered. There was so much psychology to it, and going back. Even the NWO segment with challenging John Cena not going heel and stuff like that. Like, it was amazing. It was so in depth, and I can never be mad at a match with that much creativity. And the fact that they had that old early 90s theme, I forget what it's called. Do you know that one?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't heard that since I was a child, and when that came on, I was like nostalgic overload. Yeah. It was just really, really funny, and the whole like Muscle Man dance and all that crap, and oh my goodness, the Fiend Bray Wyatt is, you know what? I'm just gonna say it. The Fiend itself, the Bray Wyatt character right now is a genius. I'm not gonna sit here and try to pretend otherwise or be a little too humble or something like that. No. The Fiend Bray Wyatt, in my opinion, is a genius with this new character.
It's just let him do what he wants. Don't interfere too much, because when he came back with those vignettes with the Firefly Funhouse initially, and everything he did with the Fiend to SummerSlam last year was perfect. And the thing that messed it up was when WWE got their hands on it. And with this John Cena's come into it, and again, people diss John Cena, and I honestly, I can see where that's coming from, but then you see him do this, and you realise he's probably looked back and he's gone, actually, I should have maybe put people over a bit more than I did. But that was the company at the time. Yeah, like the Nexus. Oh, don't get me talking about the Nexus, because we'll be here for hours.
What's the part 2?
Yeah, we've got the women's NXT division and the Nexus. We could do specials on them, but like he's come back and he's been a bit more humble, and he's still Big Match John. Like, yeah. He's still that character, but there's something that he's willing to go, you know what? Yeah, I was a bit of a dick before, but I'm gonna put this guy over, and it was just brilliant. I can't believe it was only 13 minutes as well, because they cramped so much stuff in there.
Yeah, I was really enjoying myself, and I did not want it to end. For sometimes I'm like, oh, this has gone on too long, but it probably could have gone on at least another 5 minutes. That's my only complaint, but that's just me being selfish, because I wanted it to go on because it was awesome. Now, we have about 5-10 minutes left of this podcast, and the 2 world title matches on both nights were pretty short. So I think we can discuss our thoughts within the next 5-10 minutes about Braun Strowman, who defeated Goldberg, and Drew McIntyre is our new WWE champion. He defeated Brock Lesnar last night. So tell me, where do you want to begin? Drew McIntyre defeated Brock Lesnar, or Braun Strowman defeated Goldberg?
Let's go Braun Strowman Goldberg first, because I'd like to end on a high. I touched on it before, but like it was crazy. Well, on both matches, it's weird how 2 matches that can have the same principle of having just 2 moves can be so different. Like with the Goldberg Braun Strowman one, it was the spear and it was the powerbomb.
Yep.
That's all that really happened. Yeah, Goldberg tried to go for a jackhammer like that was ever going to happen. But, Goldberg, he came out and he looked, with that beard, he looked grizzled and he looked cool in a way. Like, that's Goldberg, there he is. And then the bell rang and it was spear. Goes for the pin. No, didn't work. Spear. Gonna go for a jack. No, you're not going for a jackhammer. Then Braun kind of picked him up but slipped because basically Goldberg, I think, was sweating so much from that exertion of the spears that he couldn't pick him. So 3 power bombs and then it's over. And you think, great for Braun Strowman. Like, Braun should have been champion years ago. And we joked last time because it wasn't confirmed that it's WrestleMania season. Braun's got nothing again. Somehow he's come out of this as a Universal Champion. Like, he'll be just thinking, what has happened? I've become Universal Champion from nothing. And what that does storyline-wise, I don't know. To be honest, I have no idea what's going to happen. Basically.
Well, as I have a hunch. I think I might know what's going to happen with Braun Strowman. And I know 2 weeks ago we discussed this very thing, which is really funny. And I didn't want him to win 2 weeks ago because I had no momentum behind him. I didn't care about the Roman Reigns and Goldberg feud, and Braun Strowman being slided in there after just losing the IC title. I was like, again, what the hell did you earn? Why do you get a title shot?
Yeah.
So I was stuck with that. But Braun Strowman defeating Goldberg and Drew defeating Brock Lesnar, and we will get to that in a few minutes. I'm happy that now 2 full-timers have both world titles. So hopefully both world titles now are going to be on SmackDown and Raw weekly, or at least bi-weekly, and they're going to get defended, and they're going to be involved in matches and not just come on for special appearances or every 3 weeks they're going to appear. I'm looking forward to this now. And where Braun Strowman could go from here, we could have The Fiend take the title off of Braun Strowman because of his history in the Wyatt family.
Interesting. I just thought about somebody as you were talking. I initially went for Shinsuke Nakamura because I thought that'd be good callback to losing the Intercontinental title. But then I thought about Sheamus.
Ooh.
Obviously, I don't know where Sheamus is at the moment, but that would be interesting because he's a big guy. It's believable that Sheamus can take that off him because he's won titles in the past, and it would be a good transition champion to get it onto Roman, but obviously that would all depend upon all the situation and where Roman is. Roman might not be back for another 18 months. We don't know. But yeah, I tell you what, there are possibilities with that belt, so long as they don't go for Baron Corbin.
I think Braun Strowman's probably going to go through a couple of people first before, even if The Fiend happens. I don't know if it will or not. That's just me speculating. But I want them to protect that Fiend versus Roman Reigns feud because that's going to happen at some point. And again, whenever Roman Reigns comes back, it could be a long time because, his previous his previous dealings with cancer is not scares. He's been dealing with it he had dealt with it. But The Fiend versus Roman Reigns is going to be incredible. There's going to be an incredible feud there because they had an incredible feud a few years ago.
Yeah, and the fact that this booking of Braun Strowman as Universal Champion has led us to already go, well, where does it go? And we've come up with different ways. It shows that this is a better way to go. Goldberg was the transition champion initially for Roman, but circumstances have resulted in it not happening. And I'm so happy for Braun to have that title. He can now call himself a world champion no matter what happens from now on.
He can call himself a Universal Champion.
Well, he's the world champion of the universe. Sorry. So even better than the world champion.
I wasn't all for it a couple weeks ago, but Braun Strowman was definitely the right call. And while he had all the momentum in the world a couple of years ago, and they should have given him the championship then, at least they given it to him now. And let's end on a high note as well. Drew McIntyre defeated Brock Lesnar Tell me, man, how do you feel about the new WWE champion?
First British WWE champion.
That's what I want to hear.
We have a song in Britain that's resulted, or in England, that it's for the English football team. So I know Drew would hate it being a Scot, but it's Coming Home. Is the name of the song, and yeah, I was scared about this match because the timing was right for Drew to have the championship. The setting wasn't. But I tell you what, they pulled it off. To kick out of an F5 with a 1 count.
Yeah.
Shows that Drew is strong. And the way that Heyman also said that, yeah, Drew's good, but he can't keep this up all night. Just keep hitting him, keep hitting him, keep hitting him. Like that, again, helped because you could hear Paul Heyman saying it. He's putting him over. And Drew winning it. And that little thank you down the camera as well. Like, this is for you, thank you, this is for you, kind of thing. It's brilliant. And as a British fan, like, all Scots become British as soon as they win something. They're Scottish when they lose, they're British when they win. So as a fellow Brit, yeah, it's just brilliant. And I'm so pleased for him because of all the stuff when he was Drew Galloway and it just didn't work out and he had to come back, reset, build himself up again, and the stuff he did on the independents, got himself back, and he's the guy. And the way that he talks, the way that he has created his character basically from the beginning of this year. Let's just have a run. Let's have some fun with this guy. Let's have a hero that we can build up on. I don't know if you saw the advert where he's training in Scotland and just shouting Lesnar at the top in the Scottish Highlands and stuff like that.
I didn't see that. No, that's funny.
It's brilliant. Basically, it's him with a withered old Scottish guy and he's taking on like a tug of war between a rugby team and just Drew on his own. It's brilliant. And it just gets to the top and it's a bit like Braveheart, where he's just like Lesnar.
Love it.
It's brilliant, and we've got that type of champion. You can have some fun with him. He looks amazing, and yeah, just a great high to finish on, and the right result. Brock can go away and just be himself for a bit, do what he wants to do on his farm, and come back. And when he comes back, it'll be, oh, Brock's back. Brock can go and fight some people that are not in the championship fight. That would be nice.
I agree. With that, we will wrap things up. And thanks for coming on the podcast once again, James.
Oh, thank you for having me. And it's a weird time at the moment, but I tell you what, wrestling's still going on, and somehow it's pulling out stuff like this, which is brilliant.
Yeah, it really is, and they're doing the best they can. We know AEW has recorded for several weeks, so we got some good wrestling for the next at least couple of weeks. So all you people out there, hang in tight. Well, we're all gonna get through this. Find some productive ways to just be positive, and if you're bored, maybe go back and find some old matches to watch or catch up on some feuds that you were never able to catch up on. Thanks to everyone who continues to listen to this podcast. If you want to hear your voice on here, simply send me a PM on any of my social media. You can find me on SoundCloud under Lotus Moon Productions, Facebook under Lotus Moon Productions, Twitter under Lotus Moon Prod, and you can search us on YouTube under Lotus Moon Productions. So with that, this has been LMP Wrestling, and we're signing off.